What's going on, YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Batman Urban Legends number 7. Now, I've actually liked Urban Legends, mostly like the Red Hood storyline, but now that that storyline's passed, now that the Grifter one's done, now that that whole like Tim Drake one is kind of done and over with, we're left with kind of like the starting of a new slate of sorts. And it leaves a lot to be desired. I don't really have a strong foundation that's been built off in the previous issues for this one. Everything's kind of its own fresh thing. The only one of any real substance is the Batman Beyond one, which isn't half bad, but like the other storylines in here just felt kind of pointless, and I didn't really know what the purpose of it was. The Batman Beyond one's just there to set up a new Batman Beyond book. And the thing with that is, I don't know if it's in continuity with Batman Rebirth. I don't know if it's in kind of its own thing. I feel like it's kind of its own thing, apart from the Batman Beyond book that we just got, during Rebirth. I do love Batman Beyond. Don't get me wrong, I love it. It's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And I actually liked the Batman Beyond comic book that Dan Jurgens was working on. But this one, like, it kind of, like, the way it kind of ends, it ends in such a way to where I'm like, well, you're kind of taking away the main dynamic that made Batman Beyond special. So unless they, like, find something else to kind of replace it with, it's going to leave a lot to be desired. So, you got that. You had the Batman 666. You had some sort of robot Batman thing that's like a combination of various Batman, which I'm not really familiar with this whole thing. And then you also had like a Cassandra Cain storyline, which is just kind of there. So really, I feel like you could kind of skip this issue overall. So, I mean, those are my overall thoughts on it. Let's go ahead and quickly break down and summarize why some stuff worked and some stuff didn't. But yeah. So the first issue is basically dealing with the death of Bruce Wayne. So in the Batman Beyond universe. This one's written by Max Umbar, and then writers there. Yeah, like that's the way the text is kind of done. So you can see who was written by right there. You have the different villains right there, and somebody is killing Bruce Wayne. Like his pacemaker went out. He's telling Terry why he can never be Batman, and all that other kind of fun stuff. There's no like Matt. Terry's brother Matt isn't Robin Beyond this, so I assume this is kind of going off on its own thing and not necessarily based in the continuity of the Rebirth Batman Beyond book. So I'm just gonna have to look at it as its own thing. So yeah, Terry's just basically kind of going down like, okay, who is it who killed Bruce Wayne? And then we get the big revelation of it all, that it was like Gotham itself. Like Gotham itself is kind of like this living computer virus, and it's basically like killed Bruce Wayne. So now he has to kind of go, Terry has to go and kind of black out the whole thing. He takes Ace with him, and basically they kind of go off and do their own thing. They leave the tower. It's basically just there to kind of set up Batman Beyond Neo Year One. So I mean, overall the storyline was okay itself. The artwork was quite good, but the only thing that kind of leaves me scratching my head about how it's going to go is in this whole Batman Beyond Neo Year One. How is that going to go? Like, part of what makes Batman Beyond really work is the dynamic between Terry McGinnis and Bruce Wayne. Now that they've effectively killed off Bruce Wayne, and yes, eventually a storyline this was going to happen, but that was the foundation of Batman Beyond, was the older Batman teaching the younger Batman. So I'm wondering how a Batman Beyond series can work without Bruce Wayne there, because like I said, Bruce was, and Terry's dynamic is what made that show and a lot of the comics work so well. Are they going to replace that with a new kind of thing, or is this just going to be Terry kind of off on his own, facing off against various villains? Are we going to see Blight? Are we going to see Ink? Are we going to see Spellbinder? And there's a lot of other villains. Are we going to see 10? Yeah, could we replace Dana Tan with Melanie Walker, aka 10? I think that would be a lot cooler, because Dana Tan is quite frankly one of the most boring characters ever created in existence. Never liked her in the show, never found her interesting. I don't understand why her and Terry are together. So can we just get her out of the picture? I know that's mean for me to say, but like Dana is just such a boring character. And even then, like, why would she even put up with Terry after all the lies he did, and kind of sneaking around and stuff? So like that's something where I just never understood why it was necessary. Now Melanie was a lot cooler, so like her in the Royal Flush Gang, it was kind of like a role reversal of Selena Kyle, to where she was kind of forced to steal, even though she didn't necessarily want to, just for the sake of her family. So yeah, that's that. We'll see how it turns out. I mean, the first storyline was the best of the bunch. But overall it was just kind of okay. I'm just curious to see how it's going to turn out without Bruce there to kind of work alongside Terry. Maybe they'll bring in some other Bat family members as kind of the mentorship. So we'll see. Hopefully it's good. Moving on to the next thing. So the next thing is written by Tim Seeley. This is a Damian Batman 666 thing. And this story is just kind of boring. It really is kind of a waste of time. I'm not huge into the 666 Batman 666 thing. That was something kind of years ago, and now I feel like Damian as a character has evolved so much kind of past that point where I never really want to see the 666 Batman. Like the best version of Damian as Batman so far from what I've seen is in Deceased, because he was actually allowed to grow. Here it just is a really miserable, angry, like just boring kind of book. He just is kind of going around murdering different people, and it really amounts and leads to nothing. And then I guess he's kind of bringing back the Joker, and then his soul and all that stuff. In all honesty, I don't understand the purpose of the storyline. And the sad thing is I like a lot of what Tim Seeley has written before, but this was just an angry, ugly story that really just served no, like, end goal. Like, you didn't see an evolving Damian as a character. It's just kind of a what-if, worst-case scenario for him. And, like, by the end of it, I'm just left scratching my head. Like, why do we even have this in the first place? So, yeah, I was kind of disappointed with this one overall. The next one is a Cassandra King one. It's just basically her trying to get a new meal. Faces off against, like, the Magistrate. That one's written by, who wrote this one? Let's take a look really quickly. Jill Singleton, and then Ben Abernathy is the editor. So I guess it's set in future state timeline. I don't even know at this point. Like I said, that's how uninterested I am. So yeah, Cass is there. She doesn't even have like a cowl on because, like, you know, masks and that are kind of outlawed, but she's not, like, you can see her whole face at this point. She's not really wearing a vest. So the Magistrate then kind of tracks her down. She fights some stuff. She kind of escapes, and then Batman comes to help her out, and then that's kind of it. And then they kind of team up. So I really just don't understand the point or the purpose of it. The artwork is kind of cool. Like, it's definitely unique. Definitely makes me feel very manga inspired. But the story itself is just kind of, a real nothing storyline. Then the last one we have is, like, this one set on Pluto, like this prison planet. It's sent, like, way into the future. And we just have this Batman who just kind of, like, shapeshifts into various other versions of Batman throughout the years, given its, like, AI studying history. And then it faces off against numerous villains. Like, I like the fact that we got to see all the different bat suits in that. I thought that was kind of cool. It's just something that's just the living embodiment of Batman. I have no name. I am vengeance. I am the legacy. I am the only Batman. So that's what it does. It kind of helps someone at some point. So it's just the Batman with no name. It's got its own artificial Robin. I don't know what the purpose of it is, and I'm not sure what's going on with this last panel here. You have somebody who looks to be kind of building something, and it just says Infinity. Like, who is this? Is that, like, my theory is that could be Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown, because this last panel here, like, I don't know what the purpose of it is. It just has an infinity symbol, and it has someone kind of building something, which is why I think, like, I mean, these people, one's got kind of blonde hair, one's kind of got dark hair. Like, who are these two people doing these things? Is that Tim and Steph? I mean, there's no connection to kind of tell me otherwise. That's just a theory I kind of have to go off of. But yeah, so this one's written by Kenny Porter, and then Balder Rivera is the artist, and then, you know, had all these other people kind of working on it. But yeah, again, like, this story, I guess, works okay. It's just a bit of a one-shot, but since I'm not really quite familiar with that, the character, I didn't really get too invested into it. And really, the only storyline that had me intrigued was the Batman Beyond one. The Damian one, I really didn't like at all. The one afterwards with Cassandra Cain was just also completely pointless. And then the one after that, like, it wasn't really setting up a series, but it was just something that was kind of a one-shot. And then you have the last panel, which has somebody who looks to be building something. And my only theory, it could be Tim and Steph, because this is a Batman book, and one has blonde hair and one doesn't. But I don't know for sure. So I don't even understand what the purpose of a lot of these stories were, other than the Batman Beyond one, to set up, like, a Batman Beyond book. So yeah, considering, like, a lot of the stuff with Urban Legends, like, I didn't really have a strong story that kept me engaged throughout it, or I didn't have, like, that amazing Red Hood storyline anymore by Chip Zdarsky to keep going. I almost wish that was 7 issues so I could, you know, have something good to go off of in this thing. But all things considered, you can really skip this issue. I wasn't a huge fan of it, and it's kind of disappointing because I really have liked a lot of Urban Legends, but this one just felt, I don't know, kind of pointless for a lot of the storylines. It just felt like kind of a filler issue. So It's kind of unfortunate because, like I said, I like Urban Legends, and I'm hoping they start to pick up the pace and really kind of add some more engaging storylines in the coming issues. So, yep. Anyways, those are my thoughts on it. What did you think of Batman Urban Legends number 7? Did you like? Did you dislike it? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit that bell for notifications. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. And as always, take care now. Bye bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.